people build hard times build strong people build good times.
There's no such thing as a cross-platform developer.
Maybe the models that we're supposed to have are not there yet. Maybe we'll have a super magical model which will just be that super intelligent and smart that we will not need to use it right. It will just know what's the right way to use it.
I don't think we had privacy ever.
I need to go to jail for fucking typing some text on the keyboard.
The biggest AI driver now is burning a lot of money.
We have what we have. How can we use it to make our products better? Because it all comes down to product development in the end.
The companies are not exploring their capabilities even at 30%.
You always need to switch camps. You always need to switch lenses. You always need to see things differently.
The more powerful you are, the more important you are, the more attention you should pay to whatever you say and how you say it.
How do we prepare the next generation to fill in our shoes?
With the advance of AI, I think every engineer will be more of the product than engineer.
You're not going to do this your entire life. You're not going to have 80-year-old people coding. They probably want to enjoy their retirement if it's going to reach to that point.
Develop your forever going engine.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another episode of VUnstaged, the After Hours edition with a very special guest. And the reason I'm saying a very special guest is because it was supposed to be like a first time type of, let's say, recording, where we're supposed to meet each other live. But turns out it's not the first time. It's like we live if you know the movie, The Edge of Tomorrow.
I know the movie Groundhog Day.
Yeah, when the guy lives the same day every fucking time, and it just keeps on going and going and going. So I guess I'll begin this show a little bit more unusual. First of all, I wanna give huge thanks to Vlad. I'll let him introduce himself, but I wanna give huge thanks to you for being so patient with me. Because I'll be all the way honest, this is the third time we're recording the same video. I don't even know how to begin this, what to ask, because it's been so many times. And the reason being is, product development. When you make a product which doesn't work and then you forget to press stop recording, it just doesn't record the sound and the whole thing's ruined. But anyway, I will begin the show by asking the usual stuff. If you can tell us your name, what do you do for a living? And of course, I ask this everyone, how did you get into tech?
Sure. So my name is Vlad. I'm mostly writing code, actually speaking more to the people than writing code. Commenting on Jira tickets and all that stuff. So basically I'm doing software development. How did I get into tech? Oh, that's actually a long story. Starting from
Tell me about it.
From the childhood, and the first time I saw computers at the computer classroom, and since then basically I understood. Okay, it was probably somehow later that I understood that it's gonna be my future. In one way or another, I'll do something related to computers, and in ninth grade I decided that I'll go to software engineering path. And here I am.
9th grade is pretty early. That's really a good job, actually.
Yeah, I guess. There is a saying, if you started your software development career at 15, you are already late.
I guess it's way too late in my case, because I started, I think, at high school, late high school, 11th grade or so, which is I believe it's 18 years old.
Yeah. No, I think it's never too late. I think it's all right. When you want to start, just start.
We'll talk about never too late and how do you even get into this crazy field nowadays. But we'll do that before we introduce the drink of choice for today. So the tradition of the show is the guest picks a drink. And today's drink is kvass, a more unusual drink. Typically, it's alcohol, whiskey, wine, you name it. Today we have kvass. It's more of a Slavic kind of drink, Russian, Belarus, whatever. You guys might be familiar with this drink. It's a very good drink. So today's drink, kvass.
Cheers.
Cheers. Although I don't say cheers to that, but I love this bread as that joke, like this bread water, bread drink.
Bread beer, basically. It is bread beer. It's fermented bread.
Yeah, it's really good though. Anyway, that aside, I guess let's kickstart this with you mentioned if you start this career after 15, you're already too old. And speaking of that, how do you even get started nowadays? Like, given, like, I remember the times when we had little information, not enough of it, quite bad, I would say, to a point. Whereas today you have so much information, both good and bad. Like, how do you even get started? What's your opinion on this?
Well, I'm the not the right person to ask about this because I I started a while ago, not starting now. But on the other hand, I actually started a couple of times because I changed my profile and then got back. So I don't know if technology counts, right? Because we probably all started on some web pages on PHP or something.
Did you also start with PHP?
Yeah, I think the first project somebody commissioned was a Drupal project.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Drupal, WordPress.
I did
times.
I did a Drupal project. This was my first job, and yeah, but after a while, I moved to iOS. Then tried something else after a couple of years. Then moved back to iOS, and here I am still doing iOS after.
When you say moved back, do you mean from like Android or from web and different other stuff?
It was mostly backend, some Golang,
Go.
Java, yeah.
Interesting. I
Yeah,
mean,
stuff like that.
Go is not that old actually, although it's been on the market for a while.
It's from 2011, 12.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Something around. So turns out you started doing Go before me, which is
around 2015, I guess, or 14.
Yeah, that's pretty early because I think I started in 2019, I believe. Yeah, 2019, something around that. Interesting. So yeah, I tried infiltrating my question when it comes to Android. I was just curious. Have you done how did you come across doing iOS? What I guess inspired you, or not even inspired, but like what made you say in your mind like this is what I want to do? I tried let's say both of the worlds. I like this more. Is there like a story like that in your mind?
I cannot say that I tried both before deciding going iOS, full speed. It happened by chance. One of my friends basically offered me to help him develop an application, and he would promote it and try to make some money out of it. It was basically in the beginning, a couple of years after the beginning of App Store and all the custom apps, third-party apps for iOS. I think it was 2010, 2011. Yeah, and it went quite interesting. It was a nice experience, and I kind of left it for a while after this project. Yeah, and did more web. But then I just came back because it was interesting. The mobile was on the rise. I think it was first 3 years of mobile wave.
I even remember the times when people used to say that we were doing a lot of web stuff, and then at some point people were hyping mobile development so much to the point where they would just say we would no longer need computers. People would just use mobile applications and phones and tablets and all these things like that.
Well, and it holds true to some extent.
Yeah.
So because there are regions, especially countries in development, that majority of population are using mobile phones. They don't usually have even laptops or.
Yeah, it's funny how we transitioned from like a web-only experience, slowly giving more and more power to mobile phones, even to the point where mobile phones even had. And I still believe they still do advancements in the CPU department. Like they have better CPUs if you talk about efficiency.
Better, you mean, than desktops and laptops?
In not let's say performance, but more in efficiency. So how much watts it consumes for it gives you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's to the most part thanks to ARM architecture and whatnot. But yeah, it started from that, and then we said maybe it's a good idea to put ARM inside like a consumer-based computer and whatnot, which like a phone is already a computer, but yeah, very interesting.
And servers, don't forget about servers.
Yeah, but servers on like, don't get me wrong, I would be the first customer in line to buy like an ARM if there were, let's say, ARM-based motherboards. I'm not saying there aren't.
There are.
They are, but very few of them. Like very few manufacturers, like Ampere, if you heard about.
Mhm.
Yeah, like they're doing it, and I think a few other brands like take what Ampere has to offer and they put it in their own like. Yeah, like you can't really like. I think there's like a few builds you can buy online, but that's pretty much it, and it doesn't have the support which x86, for example, has. And I would really love to build like a crazy ARM server with like, I don't know how many cores even it off. I think it's like 256 or even 512. I don't remember, but like the latest Ampere, the craziest one you can get, that's offering a lot of CPU cores.
About the servers, you know how they are measuring now, not in flops, but basically in energy consumption. So basically, a data center would be I don't know, 500 kilowatts or something.
Yeah. Especially with the whole Web3 NFTs, like AI boom, and like even people talk about us as humanity not having enough compute for let's say our dreams and our ambitions. And I was talking the other day with my previous guest on AI, and he mentioned the algorithms is the problem why we're not advancing as fast, because the algorithms on which most AI models and neural networks operate are not efficient. We just don't have enough compute for the applications we think we have in mind, basically.
It's only natural. I mean, you end up being blocked by or limited by something at some time, right?
Yeah, we always live in this, especially as engineers, we always kind of live in this world of constraints. There's always a memory constraint, battery constraint, CPU constraint, time and budget constraint when it comes to business, for example.
Yeah.
So yeah, you always live in this world of constraints. You just have to, I guess, prioritize what you want to focus on. And when it comes to AI, I guess we're still in a battle / race for who's going to be the winner, who's going to have the best models, which I don't know, performs the best and at different topics and whatnot. So we're still exploring this field in a way. But on the other hand, we still are relying on like older algorithms and older computers, and we still have quantum computers on rise, still unexplored territory. Given the time and the knowledge we have, they're still not the scary thing which everyone's talking about. But who knows? Yeah, let's maybe go to like iOS, Apple, and whatnot. So yeah, in your day-to-day use, because I guess you are an Apple user. You sold,
unfortunately.
Yeah, like same goes for me, man. I just sold my soul to Apple, and I tried getting out. I actually recently got out of the whole Apple ecosystem. I'm only using.
Tell me how.
I'll tell you how, but it sucks a little bit because whether, well, fuck it, I'll just say it. I got myself a guy who's gonna help me with all the editing and stuff because it just takes so much time. And I gave him my laptop for editing and whatnot, and I was like, okay, I have a Windows machine, I am gaming on it, why not just put it to good use, because it has like a 5090 in it, a bunch of RAM, a bunch of storage and whatnot. It's like a good machine. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to Windows 11, not too bad, I'll say that, although people are hating on this idea of Windows getting rid of offline accounts and whatnot. It's a good experience, don't get me wrong, but like you're missing out on a lot when it comes to like what Apple offers you. Like the thing that I miss the most is the clipboard. When you copy something and it just works across everything.
The magic, yeah.
It's just, especially with authenticator apps, it is annoying. Like you need to always, especially with like companies, there are companies that have stricter policies, and they'll just fucking log you out every 2 hours or so. And it's annoying to just always open it and type it manually. And I guess I miss it, but I also I'm feeling free in a way. The biggest area in which I am free, I would say, is storage.
Mhm.
I cannot tell you how happy I am that I can just afford terabytes and I can expand anytime.
And it doesn't cost an arm and a leg.
Yeah, like think about how much it costs. Like you go apple.com, try order like a MacBook, you're like, oh, it's affordable. Maybe I'll buy it. And then you try to, mesmerize and think about what are the applications of this laptop. I'll probably use it for editing, I'll probably use it for coding, I'll install a few apps, and then you quickly realize you're actually running out of space very quickly, especially with video editing and stuff. And you're like, okay, what are the options for upgrading my storage? And you see the prices, and it's fucking annoying, to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah. And you go Windows.
I mean, yeah, I love Windows, the flexibility and whatnot, but the developer, although I really do love what they did with WSL. I don't know if you tried it or not. It's really good. It's sometimes clunky, but the fact that I can use Linux within the Windows system and I can still play games and whatnot is just fucking awesome. But yeah, like I miss on that Apple snappy, beautifully wrapped up experience which they give you. It's just something you miss out on. Plus the whole Unix ecosystem and whatnot, although it's constrained, but still. So I wanted to ask you, is Apple really about thinking different lately when it comes to innovation, how to do things, decisions they take in the marketing slash sales department?
If we take the the slogan think different, we should think about the context it appeared on, right? Because it was like late 70s, or at least the second half of the 70s, and the dominant company in the IT selling hardware was IBM. And IBM was strictly B2B company, right? So you could not go to the IBM as an individual person and buy a PC, laptop, or whatever. There were no laptops, no personal PCs. So what Apple did, basically, they pushed towards affordable small machines that everybody can use.
Yeah.
Just basically a computer as we know it today, with the monitor, with the keyboard, right? Because before them, even though there were machines that you could buy as an individual person, they were like DIY machines. You would buy a lot of pieces, would build them together, and try to make something of it. But it was a bunch of LEDs and switches, and you would program, or you would change the switch combination, and write down the LED, and so on. So it wasn't the computing as we know it today, right? So what they did different is provide this computer we know today. So they thought different back then.
So they kind of forced the way of how we build hardware. Most notably laptops, even computers. They're not really that much into, like, let's call it PCs, although Apple doesn't call it like bigger / beefier hardware. Although they started doing like the Ultra thing, and I'm not sure if they have upgraded the Mac Studio, not Studio, the Mac thing, like the big
Mac
giant.
Pro?
Yeah, the Mac Pro, exactly.
Not
the
the
meme,
meme. The grind, not the grinder. How it's called?
The meme PC.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in that sense, you're right. I guess they did push the innovation when it comes to this, but yeah, I'm, I guess, a bit more not skeptic but disappointed to what innovation looks in their eyes lately.
Yeah. Well, it's not only about Apple. So
yeah, we've reached an innovation, let's say, threshold, climax, whatever you want to call it, where it's harder and harder to innovate. And also, as customers, we have higher and higher expectations. And they might add small little things like, let's make it thinner, and then let's make it uglier and more unusable. And we're just annoyed, and we just ask for more, I guess.
Let's make it open like a notebook.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the moment when they're gonna be doing foldables and shit.
I'm not. I'm actually not really interested in this kind of. And as I understand,
because like my problem with foldables at the moment is, first of all, I'm not sure how fast they wear. I heard they're pretty good. I've seen some of them in action, but I guess they're just fucking too big. They're beefy. And if Apple comes with like some super efficient, like if that shit is foldable but thin at the same time, I don't know how to put it in like Apple's terms, some kind of dynamic phone type of shit, then I'm, I guess, buying that. I don't know. How's the developer experience on Apple? Uh, Notably, let's say Xcode, because a previous guest of mine who's an Android developer, he mentioned that developer experience on Apple is kind of shit in a way. To quote him, he said that Xcode doesn't have that good of an IntelliSense / developer experience, for example, compared to JetBrains. And my question is, are you happy with the current developer experience, or you're just using it when you just want to compile, and for the most times you're using a different IDE / text editor?
Yeah, so I tend to agree with your previous guest on this topic, and I also think that Android developer experience is much better than iOS, and this is mostly due to the tool chain. Yeah, Xcode in first place, and not only that. No, I'm not using anything else besides Xcode. So I'm not using, VS Code with a lot of plugins. I'm not using AppCode. I think the IDE from JetBrains is called.
They also have one for Apple.
For iOS, yeah, for
I
Apple.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's still in production and they're still selling it, but how many years ago? More than 10 years ago, they launched it. It was called AppCode, and it was pretty nice. I mean, it was the usual IntelliJ with some adaptations.
Yeah.
It had some limitations. Like back then, the main way of building UI for iOS was using a so-called interface builder. So it's a tool within Xcode to basically build a mock-up by drag and drop.
Yeah, that's what I remember, especially when I used to participate at these hackathons, where I also seen you and met you, but from very far. I've seen people like drag and dropping, and I'm like, is this iOS development? Is this how people do it? Whereas I'm just writing code, like I was doing front end at the time, a little bit of design here and there, and I'm like writing actual lines, and I see people drag and dropping, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm misunderstanding it or whatever.
Yeah, so this drag and drop system was one that was missing in the app code back then. Not sure about now. And couple of other stuff. But when that came out, the app code, I tried it, and for a while I was using Xcode and app code in parallel. And I was very keen of the refactoring feature of the app code because IntelliJ. Yeah. And the fun fact, it still doesn't work properly on Xcode. So even the basic renaming of variables or whatever, it would work, I don't know, 50% of the cases.
Yeah,
for example.
It's the same with like Safari. If you take web developers, they absolutely hate Safari.
Yeah.
Like even Microsoft has caught up to the hype. It used to take a lot of backlash, but even that thing caught up. Yeah, they got rid of IE and whatnot, but they made huge progress when it comes to the browser. Whereas Safari is now the one who's like stagnating and lagging behind. Yeah, it's just funny. More on the developer experience. I really love what they did with the simulator, though.
What do you mean? What exactly?
Like, maybe not from like their simulator, like the simulator app and whatnot. It's really, I don't know, it's really well put together. Although I wanted to ask you, what's your opinion on it? Do you use it? How often you use it? And are there differences between what you see in the simulator and an actual different or physical device?
Yeah, I use it all the time. So it's a to-go tool, first of all, because, it's not that much of the case now on the ARM processors, but before there was a big difference between compiling for simulator and compiling for the hardware.
Yeah.
It would be a much longer process for the actual device. But even now, the simulator just It's just convenient.
Yeah, I don't know about like the mobile, like let's say iOS developers, but when it comes to the web developers, there's sometimes issues on Safari. And because Safari has this, like when you develop in Chrome, you obviously have dev tools and whatnot as a front end engineer, but at the same time, yeah, you can select an iPhone from their when you're doing responsive and stuff,
Yeah.
but it's not always going to replicate exactly what. And what's beautiful about the simulator, you can choose your device. You can even, I believe, you can even choose like a watch OS and whatnot.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure if you can do like web browsing on the watch OS.
I'm not sure about web browsing on the watch
Yeah,
OS.
but it's just crazy
Either.
how well put together that is, and you confirming that Xcode is just annoying.
Well, it is annoying compared to Android Studio,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
example. Yeah, but Android Studio has its own moments, it's not perfect. I think the biggest difference between the iOS simulator and Android, I think Android is called emulator because it emulates the system, not simulates it, is that it loads faster. Like I don't know how many times, but it's definitely faster. And this is the
Yeah, if you compare it to the web experience where you just by the time you finish writing the line, it already reloads everything.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, it's not that kind of experience, but
Yeah,
nonetheless, it's a slightly faster. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, simulator
Does
is
it have
fine.
does it have to, like you mentioned this better term, does it have to do with the fact that Android is open source and as a result there's just more tools around it, whereas Apple is proprietary, only Apple has the access to doing stuff. And even like if you plan on, like, a lot of people when they think Apple development, they don't think about the whole production line. Like, a lot of people might not be aware that in order for you to have a full let's say production pipeline of you writing code, shipping that code to App Store, is you actually need Apple hardware for your CIs, for stuff to compile and whatnot. Like, you don't just write code on your Apple machine and then push it to App Store.
Yeah, no, it is actually like this. You can write your code on any Apple machine and push to the App Store.
True.
Yeah.
If you're the solo developer.
Yeah, limitation is in place. I mean, you have to have some kind of Apple computer for this. There is an alternative, although also from Apple ecosystem. There is an app for iPad, which is called, I think, Playgrounds or something like this. I don't remember. It's similar to the type of the project in Xcode, or maybe Spring. Don't remember. Sorry.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can build an application on your iPad and ship it directly to App Store.
Interesting.
From the iPad.
Yeah, because they have this interesting idea of like making iPad have a laptop or whatever.
Yeah.
You have like the keyboard, you can put it like a screen and whatnot. Interesting, yeah. Since you mentioned that you've started doing web before doing iOS, or not even can, but should people maybe ask the question whether before something turns into an app, whether that should be more of a web page, that could have been a web page, that could have been a website and whatnot?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think every project should start as a web page, and only when you run into some limitations of the technology, only then you should think about maybe it's supposed to be an application. Yeah, I mean, there are obvious cases when you know right away that the web page won't do. Yeah, not everything is possible. Maybe you need I don't know, camera access, location, whatever. Even though it's possible now through web, it's not that convenient.
What would you say are 3 to 5 top use cases of somebody needing, in which case they absolutely must immediately think, I need an app, I need to look for an app developer, whereas, oh, it's fine, I can do it in the web?
Actually, now that I'm speaking about it, I think it's not about the project itself. It's about the resources team possess. And
let's say budget is relatively not an issue. Let's say you want to go cross-platform, you go Flutter and whatnot. We'll cover cross-platform, but let's say you go the cheapest way possible to go for an app.
Oh, so
and land on
so
the
budget is an issue in this case.
Yeah, I'm contradicting myself. But let's say you go super cheap, you just want to land on the market, which a lot of clients do, by the way.
Yeah.
And like you have to choose between, does it even make sense to go an app, or I can even go cheaper and build a website?
No, if you want super cheap, you go website and do a progressive web
No,
app.
but my point is, in what sense you would question whether you want to go an app, you want to upgrade immediately, because you immediately realize this is not going to work well on web. This is going to be a poor experience, maybe. Yeah. What would you say are the things missing? Something that will immediately turn in your mind, I should go an app. I should not go website.
If you had asked me about this, I don't know, 5 years ago, I would list the basic platform features that are hard to access or inconvenient to access from web. Yeah, like location, whatever, a smoother interface, camera control, and all that stuff. But today, I've seen a lot of apps doing all this stuff through the web.
Yeah, the web API has gotten so richer, and also the support for the browser is there, because previously you had it, but it was more of a Chrome thing.
Yeah. And Chrome was not always available on iOS for developers. So today, I actually struggle to think other than that you want no compromises ultimate experience, then you should go to as a native app. If you have some budget constraints, right? You don't have a lot of people that you can throw at this project, then you should go probably first as a web, especially if you already have a web product.
Yeah.
I don't see a reason not to try to adapt the same site, as either a hybrid app, as a lot of people are doing today.
What about this, maybe, as you mentioned, hybrid concept of having a web app plus PWAs or progressive web apps? Like, what's your opinion on that? Is that, let's say, a good thing? Is that something we're going to see a light at the end of the tunnel, or Apple is just shutting it down?
Well, they tried to shut it down in Europe, and then European Union said, "Excuse me, where is it? Please bring it back." And we were kind of, still blessed, and we can use this. But they're trying to make this experience as bad as possible for the developers and for the user as well. So that's one of the moments why you would like not to have just a web app, but maybe some hybrid app that you submit to App Store, and maybe it's the same technology.
What do you mean by hybrid app?
By hybrid app, I mean you don't have just a progressive web app. It's not just your web app that you let the user save as a launch icon on their home screen. I'm talking about the native app that presents a web app within it. So you are basically submitting your application to the store as if it would be a regular native app, but the technology behind is just your website doing the same stuff as before.
We mentioned web, and maybe it's a good thing to think about, as always, before you build anything, you need to measure 7 times and cut once. Speaking of measuring 7 times and cutting once, maybe let's talk about the framework of choice or the solution of choice when it comes to mobile development. As you said, 5 years ago, there was one way of doing things, and that was maybe not even 5 years ago, maybe a bit more ago, was doing native development. So for Android apps, you'd go Java. I'm not sure Kotlin was a thing.
5 years ago, it already was.
And for iOS, you'd go not even Objective-C, you'd go Swift, I believe.
Yeah.
So given the landscape of technologies nowadays, what's your opinion of like cross-platform solutions such as Flutter and React Native? And are they a threat to, let's say, native mobile developers such as Android and iOS? And yeah, what's your thought on this one?
Yeah. So I don't like cross-platform development just because I'm doing mostly native and I don't know much about these frameworks. So I've tried some simple Flutter. I tried React Native, and the speaking about the developer experience, I think they're worse than native development
Right.
on iOS, and probably the same on Android. I suspect.
Yeah, but the way they do it, at least that's how I seen it. I tried like doing a course on Flutter and whatnot, and typically how people do it is they develop it on Android emulator, and then at the end they just publish the code because they know it's going to translate well, and then they just might check once or twice at the end when they like need to validate on a physical device. They don't like do it let's say Apple first. They do it more like Android first.
Yeah.
Which is interesting that you mentioned that.
You know, I don't remember a case of a successful app that's been first an Android app and then an iOS app. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm biased. I'm biased, and I'm looking more into an iOS ecosystem. And
why is that the case though? Because I've also noticed this exact same thing where you'd have like products they launch on the market, they start with a website, and then the first app at the time when we were still doing native development, the very first app they support is not Android, is iOS. Like, why is that the case? Even though technically Android phones and Android users are more.
Yeah, first of all, I'm not sure we are past the native development era. So I'm pretty sure we're still on it.
Yeah.
And at least for me, for projects I'm working on, for a lot of people I see around working on iOS projects,
but you don't
still native development.
Yeah, let me put it this way. Like nowadays, if you're a product and you want to land on the market as quickly as possible, you don't have to compromise as it used to be the time. Like you don't have to say, fuck you, Android users, I'm only going to build Apple. You can just hire a cross-platform engineer or a team of cross-platform engineers. And the truth about it is the design system got better there. So the whole look and feel feels more like a native app overall, the experience. And it's also to a certain extent, since like as customers, we also like grew in expectations of what a product should offer in terms of ecosystem when it lands on the market. So we expect it's going to support both Android and iOS. It's going to have some kind of a web companion if it's necessary, and it's just going to be good. It's just going to be like the rest of the product, so that we don't outlie it and say this is shit. Yeah, like the first impression matters a lot. It didn't like used to be the case back in the day when we were only relying on native development. You obviously had, and you still do have, budget constraints, but at the time you obviously had to invest way more if you wanted to go both platforms.
I guess I don't have the numbers now to to be able to speak about it. But
yeah, like if you take the average, let's say, developer at the time or now, it's, I would say, if you're a startup, small to medium business, and you want to save costs and cut corners as much as you can, you're thinking cross-platform because you have more mature solutions, and also the market of such developers has grown. And I mean, I don't know.
And then you go to the market, you get 1.5 rating, and delete the app from the market.
yeah, that's an interesting way to put it. But I guess my question is, when as a business, so it's very clear when you have the budget, you don't give a shit. You just wanna, like, quality for you is the main concern. You want the best of the best shit on the market. And maybe the problem that you're going to be hit with when budget is not a problem is time, like how quickly you land on the market. But let's say budget is an issue for which is the reality we live in. Budget is typically a constraint when it comes to businesses, and time. But budget mostly. You want to land as fast as you can on the market, and you want to likely support as many users as you can and not discriminate, as it used to be the times. And like, what's like, let me ask maybe this. Have you had like missing opportunities maybe because of the fact that people are going more towards this direction? Or you just say, fuck the rest of these small clients, I'll just be focusing on the big fish, which is native development?
I never missed such an opportunity just because I was not looking into this stuff. But
Do you have recruiters which maybe say, okay, we need like a native iOS developer, but at the moment we have like a Flutter app which we're porting to these individual platforms and whatnot?
I don't remember such case. But let me put it like this. So basically, the thing is, there are trends, right?
Yeah.
And people may be wanting to build a Flutter app or React Native app because they heard it's easier. They heard it's cheaper, right? They heard they can engage the developers they already have working on the website because they know some React, although it's a completely different stuff.
Yeah.
And let's put the hype trend part aside and think about it. Technology does not exist in the void.
Correct.
Right? It exists in the context of your experience already. So it's one case if you are new to the let's say software products in general. Yeah, it's a separate case, and maybe you should go with a big consulting company in this case first. But if you have a limited budget, probably it's not the case for you. But most probably you already have some experience developing software products, right?
Yeah.
So that means you have developers. That means these developers have some preferences, some experience, right? Some strong points. And I think the most important stuff here, especially if you want to save money, is to think about your context. What are your strong parts? Can you build a Flutter app because somebody knows already Dart? Then why not? Right.
Let me give you a scenario then.
Yeah.
Let's imagine you're the businessman.
Mm-hmm.
So you go from the position of, give me the problem, I'll solve it. Doesn't matter, or maybe it matters how much time it's going to take, but I don't care about your budget constraints, to where you're the businessman. And now you have two problems you want to solve, which is budget and time. And let's say you have an idea, roughly how much is it going to take if you're going to build it on your own. You quickly do the math and realize you're going to burn out and most likely not going to finish it. So you decide on going to hire somebody. What's your thought process? If you can walk me through it, are you going native? In which case you'll need to hire Android developers as well. Are you going cross-platform? Like, what's the reasoning? Like, walk me through how you would approach landing on the market as quick as possible, likely with the least amount of budget spending.
Yeah. So it's 100% native. And here is why. Because if you want to develop a good cross-platform solution, it's going to cost you because you'll have to hire really good people for this. Yeah, because there is no such thing as a cross-platform developer.
Yeah.
There are developers who have more experience on some platform than another, right? For example, and they are coming from one or another platform.
Yeah.
And they on their path they learned at least 3 different technologies, right? They've learned one framework, let's say iOS. They've learned some of Android, and they've learned this cross-platform solution, right? So these people, they actually tend to be more expensive than just one native developer who's been on only one platform for his whole career, right? And because of that, because of this focus, he's cheaper, and because of the focus, he's better on his platform.
I thought it's the other way around. I thought the more narrow a certain technology gets, the more scarce it is in a way, and as a result, the more expensive the developers of that particular technology gets.
In theory, yes. But in practice, I would not call iOS or native Android narrow technology.
Yeah,
a lot of people are doing it, right?
True.
So you can find not so not a very expensive professional, who would build you a good app. But to find the same level of expertise in cross-platform development, I think it's a lot harder, like twice as harder probably.
Yeah, because you still need to like know the both worlds in a way to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And if you, let's say, as I mentioned, if you're only relying that the emulator is going to show the exact same thing, and you're using an Android emulator and relying that it's going to do the translation properly on the iOS, and only in the end find out it's messing up the whole thing, then you have an issue. But I guess, what you said also makes sense. If you go immediately native, the cost is probably going to be slightly higher, but at the same time, there's less, I guess, room for mistakes. And speaking of like going immediately native, I'm not sure if you've been part of, let's say, hybrid teams where you have both Android and iOS apps within like the same department or maybe different departments. But how do you guys solve like this, design system / how the app looks like and feels across the two different systems? Because you gotta have you have to respect the design system while at the same time trying to have some kind of common look and feel. Like, how do you balance that?
Yeah, definitely. It's so we have a thing called design language. Yeah, basically for each platform we have a design. It's separate design language, and the good design is when it's adapted to each platform's language, right? So the way we display alerts, the way we display some action dialogues, the way we have menus and so on. I've seen a lot of apps trying to do exactly the same design and exactly the same user experience for both platforms, and it was like they were aliens on both platforms.
Because you don't respect the design, like, and that was the case with these cross-platform / web emulations. When they initially came, they looked really creepy, and you could immediately tell this is not a native mobile app.
Yeah.
And the reason being is they didn't respect the design system of that. Like on iOS, the thing looked like an Android, and on Android, the thing looked somewhat like an Android, but also had some weird web elements in there. And I was always curious, how do you guys, because my previous colleague who's like an Android developer, he mentioned like that sometimes he would have to go into some Swift code and copy certain aspects of it, certain logic, and with the help of AI, which we haven't covered, by the way, yet. With the help of AI, you can easily go through the translation process. Like, get me this thing, which is already done by my great colleague on Swift, and translate it to Java or to Kotlin.
I don't think you need AI to make a Swift code snippet into a Kotlin code snippet, because it's basically 80% the same code.
Really?
Okay, maybe not 80%. Maybe you'll have to change some keywords, but Swift and Kotlin are very similar, very similar.
I was always curious, how does that work? Like, what's the development process here?
It's different. It depends on the team. Of course, the ideal case is when you align on business logic, but not on the code level. Yeah. But for these cases, we actually in project I'm working now on, we have native iOS, native Android app.
Yeah,
and we have a couple of libraries that we are sharing between the apps.
Sharing.
Yes.
And what's the common? Like, what's the language?
It's Kotlin.
It's
Kotlin mobile. I think it's.
How do you share it though?
I think it's called somehow else now. The framework was called Kotlin Mobile multi something. I don't remember now. So it just compiles to Android and iOS targets.
I think
libraries.
there was like a Kotlin framework, if I'm not mistaken, which does like some kind of cross-platform solution, but in Kotlin.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah. So that's how you. Because I was curious, how do you guys port the binary or the final thing for both?
You don't port. It's it's done separately on.
But you have
both
to
platforms.
You have to. So you use Kotlin for both platforms. In other words.
Yeah.
So you're not writing Swift right now.
No. Not the whole application is done like this.
Okay, I see.
So we have a modular system, and 2 of our modules are done like this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have it like compiled as a binary, which then you use, or like how does it work?
Yeah, basically, you have a dependency, which is a binary library in this case.
Okay, I see. So the Kotlin does the binary thing, and then you import it both in iOS and Android.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is a real. So does it work for like you guys use that for like business logic, or because I suppose UI stuff is done individually on platforms?
Yeah, it is business logic.
Yeah, I was just curious because it's easier to like reason and think about, like if you take any, let's say, backend development, you typically have one language. Sometimes you might import a few libraries here and there, like a C library and whatnot, if it's more popular, which I believe it's the same case for you, except for you do it for like the business logic. Maybe let's talk about AI. Everyone's fucking talking about AI these days.
Yeah.
And I guess I want to know what's your opinion of the current state of AI? Where are we heading? And I'm going off script right now. I just want to know your true opinion of it, because there's a lot of hype. Yeah, people think this and that. It's gonna take our jobs and whatnot. Like, what's your opinion of it?
I have no opinion whatsoever.
Are you using it?
No, I'm joking. Of course, I have a lot of opinions. I have a podcast where we're talking mostly about AI.
Yeah, I'll remind you guys, this is the 3rd fucking time we're filming this episode. So I can definitely, let's say, understand your, I'm not going to say lack of I don't know, inspiration and like
excitement about
it.
No. Yeah. I mean, I'm still excited. I really, from time to time it comes, to my mind that I've already said that.
That's why I'm trying to go off script. Like, I'm just gonna say some shit I didn't say in any episode.
Yeah, right. Opinions on AI. So is it a bubble? Yes, it's a bubble. Is it gonna change our future? Probably yes. It already has. What else?
To what extent is it gonna change the future? What's the future in the few? Let's say, what's the future gonna look like in the next 5 years, in your opinion?
I can, with some level of confidence, can say that we're not going to see any kind of AGI, so artificial general intelligence.
It depends how you define it.
Well, the contract between OpenAI and Microsoft, the AGI is defined by amount of money made by a company.
True.
So basically,
take the whole US.
Yeah,
true.
So it's not by a company. So the definition was that I don't remember the exact number, but the company run by AI, which means the majority of the process they should be automated, and the AI should take some decisions. So this company would make some amount of money. So this is definition of general artificial intelligence.
So it's financial driven in a way.
Yeah, like any company nowadays. So if
I mean, true. Like any product you develop, you don't just want to fucking develop a product unless it's open source. You want to make some money.
Yeah, even when it's open source, you also want to make some money to at least be able to maintain it.
Yeah.
And in this sense, I do not align with this definition just because it's not interesting. Which is interesting. How much of our life can be automated to the extent we don't have to pay attention to this?
Yeah.
Right. So they are talking about money. So how much money can you make without thinking about it? And this is one of the aspect of this stuff. But there are also small things, right? And not only related to money. Like you want to be able, think less about chores in your home, right? You have to think less about, security and stuff like that.
I would be very, very skeptical when it comes to security in particular.
Yeah. But nonetheless, every aspect of your life basically can be automated to the extent you don't think about it at all, right? And maybe
to the point where it becomes natural.
Yeah.
Like you're using your phone, you just like you immediately go in this stupid weird state where you just let me just Instagram, Facebook, and you become this retard.
Yeah, but I'm talking about other type of not thinking about it. I'm talking about I don't have to think. I don't have to do anything about it. It will take care of itself and will be done as I want it. Right?
To what extent this is bad? Because obviously we love automation. We love shit delivered instantly to our doorstep. We want everything fast, everything here, there, now. But does it have negative consequences?
Yeah, definitely. But we are thinking too far ahead. As I said, I don't think we're gonna see soon this type of AI. So
No, I'm talking about let's say, the normal automation process we're trying to go through at the moment.
Yeah.
Does that have negative effects already?
I don't think it has negative effects per se. I think it's more about leverage. This is the concept that everybody's using, the leverage. How powerful AI makes you.
Yeah.
People are talking about X100 developers and all this stuff, or the famous example of Jobs with the bicycle. That bicycle makes people, I know, couple of times more efficient than just running or walking, which is true, of course. And in this regard, the leverage is already there. We already can see some improvements in some areas.
Let's maybe talk about how bad it is at the moment in our day-to-day life. And here I'm talking about product development. I'm talking about developer experience. And since you mentioned leverage, I'm also talking about the leverage which the management might have or not on you, and to what extent.
That's still in progress.
Yeah.
Actually. And it's the vibe coding, for example.
Yeah, that's one aspect of it.
It appeared this year. So basically, just one person, Andrei Karpathy.
I mean, it was called prompt engineering in the past.
No, it's a different stuff. You don't confuse them.
Yeah, I do agree. Like, there's a way to prompt it, and there's another way where you can just develop the whole shit using vibe coding, or that's how it's called. Like, I don't even know if I can come up with a different term, because that's how it's called already.
Yeah. And it's already dying out. So
it's already dying.
Yes. So people are now talking about that vibe coding is dead, and that we should do some other stuff.
It was never born for me. Yeah, I don't know. Like, of course I guess I vibe code my way into many things, but it's more of a way for me to show me the roadmap. Like, I know what I'm looking for. Sometimes I need to make up my mind if this is the thing that I'm looking for. So show me an implementation of something I'm looking for, and I'll see if this is the thing, or maybe I'll tell you to adjust your course a little bit, and let's see where we go. So, like, show me like a roadmap, show me like a map of where we're going. But to go and trust that to the full extent, I don't know, which is what vibe coding is about.
Yeah. What you described is not vibe coding, and you actually described the next step after vibe coding, that is called now spec-driven development. And
what's the name again?
Spec-driven development. So
interesting.
The idea is that when you are vibe coding, you are leaving a lot of unknown for the model. You don't give enough context, and each time you're supplying a new prompt, you're not helping out. If the process is going into wrong direction, probably you're not gonna.
It's just easier. A lot of the times, for me at least, it's just easier to open a new prompt, copy the previous prompt,
just
and restart, because it's this drift is just crazy. Yeah,
exactly. And what people figured out is it's a lot more helpful to first step is to build basically a framework of specifications.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you define some basic stuff, like what framework you're gonna use, what are the conventions, libraries, additional, and so on. So, and model is trying to help you out here first, and then model is trying to resolve tasks that you together set, and then model is trying to generate some code according to all the context that it helped you build previously.
I guess there are two camps when it comes to what you're saying. So there's the camp which says you're using it wrong, which goes into, say, what we talked about, spec-driven development. And then there's the other camp. Maybe the models that we're supposed to have are not there yet. Maybe we'll have a super magical model which will just be that super intelligent and smart that we will not need to use it right. It will just know what's the right way to use it. Yeah.
Maybe. So you're talking about that vibe coding would evolve by itself. So you won't have to adjust your prompts.
Yeah, I'm also
the model will get better.
Yeah, I'm also leaning towards we should know what are we using and how to use it so that we can maximize the results. But at the same time, we're still in the discovery of what this LLM vibe coding, whatever coding is going to turn into.
Yeah, no, definitely. Taking the issue here is that we might not see the progress in every direction that we would dream about, right? So you said maybe the model is not ready yet. Maybe it's not, the same level. We will see it in a couple of years. Maybe not. Maybe we won't see better models in a couple of years, just because they won't have the resources to develop it.
Correct.
Imagine. Not imagine. Just remind yourself that every startup is living off borrowed money, right?
Yeah, that's the whole economy, you could say.
Yeah. And OpenAI being the biggest startup now and the biggest AI driver now is burning a lot of money, right? They're making a couple of millions and they are burning tens, maybe hundreds of billions per year.
How many money are they burning on thank yous alone?
Yeah.
Just the dumbasses who write thank you back.
Please don't kill me. Yeah. And we may end up in the situation when this bubble just bursts and we don't have better models. We have what we have, and the only way is to figure out how to use whatever we have now.
It reminds me of like NASA and how they, like, it was a huge thing, like human existence type of crisis. People were just racing for who's going to land first to the moon. And then once somebody landed on the moon, the whole thing stopped. And then you wouldn't see as big of a progress when it comes to space. And then SpaceX came along, and this thing being private and developing on its own. Of course, they have a lot of subsidies and whatnot. But what you're saying is also might potentially turn up to be true, because you cannot rely on the borrowed money without delivering something which is profitable. At some point, you need to deliver stuff that makes you money so you can buy back your debt, in other words.
Yeah, and they may not shoot for the moon at some point. Yeah, they may realize that, okay, that's enough. We don't have, and we cannot have that amount of money that we want to achieve something great. Yeah, maybe we'll have something smaller but working that will make us, I don't know, $1 trillion company, whatever, right?
Yeah,
good enough, right? $1 trillion company.
It's still good enough if you take the number of models we have nowadays compared to the number of models we had 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's like such a huge progress, and the way they added so many different variations of them and what you can do with them, and to the point where it got even cheap to run them on like small devices and whatnot. It's incredible what we've went through in terms of progress. Of course, we're humans, and especially developers are dickheads when it comes to it's not perfect, it's not doing it right, I need to babysit it and whatnot. And I am a skeptical myself. I don't like it for many reasons. I'm not on the hype train for many reasons, while at the same time I'm thankful for everything that it is and for everything that it's evolved to be. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what's gonna happen to it, I guess. But also what you say about being super optimistic about the future makes sense. You need to be, okay, we have what we have. How can we use it to make our products better? Because it all comes down to product development in the end.
Yeah, no, absolutely. if you listen to what, for example, Sam Altman says at all the public speeches he has, he repeats that the models that we have now, so the companies are not exploring their capabilities even at 30%. So
everyone's waiting for the next big, like, let's not innovate now, because there might be a new thing coming up which is going to ruin everything we built upon.
I don't know. I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is that it's evolving so fast that startups, they just cannot cannot do the same. They cannot catch up and use this model. So they're trying to use one model, which may be not suitable for their task, but they're trying to prompt engineer it into something they want it to be. And maybe in 1 year it's already obsolete and you have to start over.
It reminds me of the JavaScript community and using libraries. You go on a vacation, you come back, the whole thing breaks, you need to upgrade a bunch of libraries. I guess innovation is good. Would you say it's not?
I'm not a ludist. Of course it's good.
Like some people don't like a lot of people, notably developers, they like it in the comfort zone. If it works, don't touch. I'm not going to change it because I built it. I'm going to babysit it. So
Java 5.
We naturally want comfort. And if somebody's pushing innovation or change, we oppose it for lack of better reasons and whatnot. But I'm on the side that innovation is good. You always need to switch camps. You always need to switch lenses. You always need to see things differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes I'm like, not yet. Doesn't make sense. But other times I'm like, maybe I'm a dumbass. Maybe I got left behind. I live under a rock. Illuminate me. Like I want to learn. I want to educate me on this one,
I'm happy I slept on Bitcoin and all the blockchain stuff.
It depends who you are, because there's some crazy people in the still the crypto world it's always up and down. And there's always a guy who's going to tell you invested in it too late, or you should always invest to it. It's never too late until you, of course, until the whole thing drops and all of your investments go to shit. I do hold some crypto. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I understand what you're saying. It's a hype train. It's always there's always hype trains.
There was an interview with the Moldovan prominent businessman lately, and he was asked about the crypto, if he believes in crypto and if he invests in crypto, and he said that he struggles to find a value in this besides the speculative value.
That's why I hold a bunch of stable coins. And I can't say I wasn't lucky a few times, especially when the Luna crash, if you remember.
I'm not following.
There was, I don't even remember when was that, but there was a coin called Luna, and the whole shit went down together with its stable coin. Even stable coins are
not that stable.
Not that stable in the sense that if the pegged value goes below 1, which you're supposed to have a 1-to-1 ratio, then the whole shit goes down, and then you have a stable coin which is not as stable, or people just lose money in the process, and then SEC comes in and says, what the fuck happened? And then a bunch of people went broke, homeless, and whatnot, because people are stupid and they make stupid investments. But none of it is financial advice, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble. Yeah.
Nor do I.
Yeah. We talked about AI, touched a little bit on negatives. Part of the negatives, I think, still persist even nowadays, is this false sense of accomplishment and whatnot. But the problem I see especially is for the newcomers. Mm-hmm. Like you mentioned, vibe coding, and I tend to ask this everyone, every single guest I'm talking with. We're obviously touching on AI. At the same time, I am touching on the subject on how do we pass our jobs to the next generation, which is what we're used to call juniors. How do we pass this down to the next people, and how do people maybe interested in the software engineering stuff, maybe not even interesting, but they don't know yet that they like this and they want to get into it. How do they access this market? Because it's quite tough nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. Let me ask you something in return. Do people need to be interested in engineering and software development?
Yeah, but
I mean, the promise of AI is that everybody would be able to build products without knowing how to
true.
code.
Nowadays, you no longer can brag that you're writing code and shit. Like everyone can just prompt an LLM their way into product development, AI, software engineering, and whatnot. At the same time, it's still a job which either has to transition to the next thing, like some kind of evolution of software development, or like you can't say it's gonna die, can you? Like, can you say software engineering as it is nowadays will die?
No, I don't see how it would happen.
Can you say it's
Just-
gonna die in the next 20 years?
I don't know.
Can you take
not
a
an
wild,
oracle.
Can you take a wild guess? Your opinion.
My opinion, no. I don't think it's gonna
So
die.
since you don't think it's going to die, a generation to build takes around 20 years. So my question is, how do we prepare the next generation to fill in our shoes, basically?
I don't think this is the right question. The you know, there was a saying, I don't remember who said it, but basically it goes like, our next generation is not inheriting the world from us. We borrowed it from them.
That's true. It's
know.
the same with like job. You steal the job, you don't learn it.
Yeah. So the idea that we should be able to prepare the next generation for what's coming, I think we are very naive of thinking that we can do this. So
Yeah, but at the same time, you're not gonna do this your entire life. Like you're not gonna have 80-year-old people coding. They probably want to enjoy their retirement if it's gonna reach to that point.
yeah,
Like
you imply
somebody will have to do this job.
Yeah, no, of course, but it doesn't mean that we'll have to figure out how it will happen. So they will figure out themselves.
True.
I don't think we're smart enough to figure it out for them.
But can we make
that's
it
my
easier
point.
for them? Is the question.
Can we make it easier?
More accessible, maybe.
I think we can guide through whatever we have. Some of our experience will just vanish. Won't be. I want to say competitive. It's not about competitiveness. It's about, you won't need this probably. Yeah, like if there will be less of coding, you maybe won't need, I don't know, to know a lot of code design, for example, right? So maybe this is not something you'll pass on.
Do you think product development will be done at the same rate that is done nowadays or higher?
It's supposed to be higher, faster, and better, right?
So if product development is going to be at a higher rate and possibly faster, then who's going to do it?
The product owners, product managers,
like,
or
we're gonna like we're doing it now.
Yeah.
And if you're saying that we're expecting a faster rate at which we're shipping products, features, and whatnot, then somebody will have to be involved in this niche, in this industry still.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way or other, you'll have to build the stuff you need, right? And what I'm saying is, I don't think we're equipped now to understand what will be the need of the future generation of developers right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So they will see for themselves. Take, for example, our educational system, right?
Yeah.
It's obsolete. Even at the moment when somebody graduates, his knowledge,
I would say they have the same exact problem. They're facing exactly the same problem.
Yeah.
Like we have an educational system which was built for the 90s and it's no longer relevant. Like it's so far behind. It's trying to catch up, trying to stay relevant with the market and whatnot. But at the same time, they face the same, if not even a bigger challenge than what we face. Because at least when it comes to our industry, people still will land in this industry out of pure passion. So we're not talking about people that don't have a passion for software engineering. I'm more so talking about people who have a passion, but maybe they struggle to enter the field because of how high the requirements are, and because of like the human brain has stayed the same. Like we're growing, we're evolving because we're seniors, we're just adopting new tools and we're maybe replacing them. But at the same time, there's like the generation which haven't even decided like where to start, where to even begin, like
Yeah.
approaching this field.
Yeah, entry point is actually I think a very good subject, because for us, for my generation at least, it was video games, right?
Mhm.
So video games attracted us. We wanted to build video games, and we started to program.
Even video games, if you take that industry alone, like there's so many of them. Like you'd not have enough of your lifetime to play all of them,
Yeah,
or at
no,
least even the
definitely.
popular ones.
Definitely, but
Yeah.
that's fine. I mean, video games industry is more than movies and music combined now, right? So it's the biggest entertainment industry.
I would even
yeah,
I would even say there's a lot of value in not having enough of something. It was our case. Like back then, wasn't enough information
yeah,
to learn from. It wasn't enough games to play. Computers weren't even accessible to the most part. Like they were accessible in like US, and then slowly started to be accessible in Europe and whatnot. And because of the scarcity of resources, of like we got creative in many ways. Like we, I guess, live this cycle where weak people build hard times build strong people build good times. And then we leave the cycle where our parents, our generation, or you could say even us, are building like the good times. As a result, it produces weak people. It produces people that landed into this beautiful honeymoon type of situation. And they don't know how to deal with it, I guess. I don't know.
I see the people coming after us, and I believe they will figure it out. The entry point I was talking about, which was video games for us, for them, I hope it's the product development itself, so business part, because the promise of modern era AI is that everybody will be able to code without coding and build actually the software, which is very nice. But that means you have to know more about business and take the right decisions than to actually code, right? So it will be nice to have them enter the industry through business side, startups, whatever, some small enterprises, let kids lunch something at school, stuff like that. And then they'll get interested in building software, not only software but software as well. And maybe the industry will move into this direction, right? And they'll meet somewhere in between.
What's the I'm just curious, like a quick question. What's the average age of an iOS developer? Let's say your particular use case, your company.
My company, let me think, probably around late 20s, 27, 28.
So it's not too bad. Because I was going to ask if you've experienced interaction with the new generation that's coming up, and how are they different from us? Like, what's their way of thinking, approaching things, and trying to deal with this problem at hand? Because they're the new, like, they're the ones taking the flag from us and carrying it to the next generation.
It's hard to say. It's hard to find some specific characteristics of the generation or generations, because technically we have already 2 generations after us, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I can speak about certain individuals and the quality they possess, but speaking about the whole generation, I don't know. I want to believe that they are more independent than we were. I want to believe that they have
Not as afraid, maybe.
more agency.
Not as afraid.
Not as afraid, yeah. With less, how to call it, some social breaks, some kind of, we, for me at least, I grew up with a lot of limitations imposed by society. It was 90s. It was a society in change, a lot of uncertainty, and I saw some fear of this uncertainty, in my parents, in people around, and this, of course, impacted us.
Even schools like promote this exact idea, like you're not allowed to make mistakes.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, you're punished. If you try and stay according to the book, you follow the script, you do exactly what you're told, then you're rewarded and you build up. And I've heard this exact idea from multiple people, like the newer generations, since they haven't lived the war times, since they haven't lived like the like many hard times that either we or our parents had to live. As a result, they're in a way less traumatized, more free, freer spirits, freer thinkers. Maybe for them, there's less limits when it comes to possibilities and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to believe that.
Do you have faith in humanity?
Um,
In a sense of it becoming better and greater versus more pessimistic views, like degrading and going down year over year?
I don't know. I think I tend to look at it in a more anthropological way. So for me, either way is interesting as a case,
Yeah.
and I'd like just to follow the reasons it happens one way or another. Not sure that I'm rooting for one specific case in particular.
Either way, we need like both. Like if you look at how humanity has evolved through history, if we have been enjoying like great times, typically after great times we produced weaker generations which produced harder times, the cycle I keep mentioning. And we need, like, sometimes the only way, like if you take democracies, the only way sometimes is to go through like a big pain. Like you need to learn your lesson sometimes as societies, as humanity even. And I'm wondering whether it's the times or we slowly say goodbye to the big, beautiful times we've enjoyed, and more we give up liberties, freedom. Society degrades. Like if you, at least to my in my view, like when I look around and when I look around what's happening, I am becoming slightly concerned, especially on the freedom stuff. Like if you look online, like stuff that's happening in the censorship department, for example, uh, like governments taking different positions, social media is censoring people. If you don't say the right thing or the thing which is considered taboo in a country or offended somebody, like I'm not sure you heard about like this idea of digital identity and whatnot. What's your opinion on this one?
I'm not sure
Like
what
I
it's about.
believe the UK government, but to my knowledge, I believe the UK government has come up with this idea of digital identity. So basically, anything you say online on any platform is automatically attributed to your identity. So you cannot be anonymous. In other words, like they're already putting people behind bars for what they say online, which is crazy if you compare that to even Russia, which is like the dictatorship state and whatnot. So like you introduce digital identity shit, then you basically have a bunch of people working, paying taxes and shutting the fuck up and like perpetuating this cycle. I am concerned about privacy. What's your opinion of privacy? Where is it heading?
I don't think we had privacy like ever on internet, and it's definitely getting more controlled now. It's definitely growing into more tools that make it easier, to follow you and collect information about you as an individual and centralize it. It's definitely happening, and I mean, I see why. I see the social and political reasons, and it kind of makes sense. And I'm also worried. And I'm also worried that even though the reasons may be justified, it doesn't mean that these tools won't be used in the wrong way in the future, right? Because they're
typically,
available.
as the saying, like the best intentions are paved to the hell. In other words, like what I tend to see is governments will never give up on the amount of power they have. They will always want to acquire more and more and more. So the question is, when do we tell them to stop? In a sense that this is like the line which you shouldn't cross. Like this is the red line, and like you take their weapons first, and then you take their freedoms away, and then what they can afford to say or not, and then what's the next one? What's the next stage? I guess it depends who you ask. Some people might say, yeah, but we're combating propaganda and whatnot. But if you think of propaganda, then everything is propaganda. It depends which side you're on, you know?
Yes and no. I mean, as I said, I see the reasons, and I think they are solid. And I'm afraid that the usage of these tools will go beyond these reasons, right? About the state gaining more and more control. Again, state is not some abstract institution, right? It's basically the people, is the representation of our will. We're at least voting in some countries.
I would beg to argue. Like if you take the European Commission, who voted the European Commission? People? I would say no.
I have no idea how it's done, actually.
I would say nowadays, given how complicated and bureaucratic the process is, people have no say in who they elect in the European Commission, while at the same time, the European Commission influences how the entire European Union functions, basically. It's like a federal institution of sorts. So to that extent, did people really have a say? Yes, people voted their local governments.
We are going into another science completely.
Yeah. Well, all I'm saying is, I guess I'm a firm believer that there's no democracy. It's just an illusion of us having freedom of choice, freedom of speech and whatnot.
And I think it's a product of propaganda.
Yeah, and in at least the way it is, or it was in some countries, is at least you're able to speak. Like I really like how, I believe Andrew Tate said this, but I'm not exactly sure. But I really love this idea of, or this saying, which is like, your ability to speak freely is tied directly to your insignificance. So the more significant you are, the higher you go in power, in authority, in responsibility, then the more significant or the more of the shit you say has an effect. So you need to be careful of what you're saying, where you're saying it, I guess.
Yeah, first of all, I wasn't ready for a quote from such people.
Yeah, I'm just saying I heard this, I think from him, but I'm not sure.
No, I mean, I guess it makes sense. And I think it's only justified that people with a lot of influence, should be, more careful, because this is exactly what they do. They influence a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And whatever they say, even if a small fraction of people that are listening to them will follow and will do this, the effect can be devastating. So it only makes sense, the more powerful you are, the more important you are, the more attention you should pay to whatever you say and how you say it.
True.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't understand the idea of letting it sleep for the powerful people saying stupid things, right? So I think the society should punish people for the more or less recent example of Elon Musk throwing what sign in public. I don't think it should be treated as a joke or as something that had no meaning. Whatever. Maybe he meant it as a joke. Yeah, maybe he was not controlling his behavior at that time.
Yeah, but I guess by saying that, aren't we limiting the same definition of freedom of speech depending on your status, on who you are and whatnot?
Freedom of speech and
Like it has to be like there has to be a general, I don't know, common sense, like a generic way of measuring it. Like you can say this, but you no longer can say that if you're, I don't know, 100 billion worth of money and you have this much influence over this many people. It's fair what you're saying, that with more authority and power comes more responsibility, and you should be accountable for your actions, for because actions have consequences, and you being influential will have a consequence of other people following your advice, and if it's a stupid one or a bad one, might result in, I don't know, catastrophes and whatnot. But at the same time, you're also a human being, a citizen of a country which says you have freedom of speech. So how do we regulate freedom of speech, especially online? Because a lot of people these days feel offended, especially on platforms where you can express whatever you want, you can be anonymous and whatnot.
I think it's very easy. Each and every one of our freedoms, they come to a limit, and this limit is the effect on other people. So as long as you don't ruin anybody's lives, you can say whatever you want, basically, right? At the moment your words start to change somebody's lives, and this change is not positive, not something they were looking for, right? You should be held accountable.
But I might be offensive to anyone. It very much depends what I say.
Yeah, I'm not talking so much about
like
how,
you mean
how people get offended.
Yeah, you mean in a, let's say, in a more physical way. So if I do something which physically affects your life or puts you in danger.
No, look, if you offend somebody,
Yeah,
like one person, right? Somebody would not like whatever you said. Yeah,
right,
it's
right.
one thing.
Yeah.
If you say something and a million people get furious, that's another thing, and it's not the same. It's not about your freedom of speech. It's about what you are saying probably is not that nice and having its effect, and you may be saying something that's true even, right, to some extent, for some people, for example, yet it doesn't mean that it's meant to be said.
But how do you regulate that online, especially?
I have no idea.
How do you, like, let's say you're the moral god. How do you decide something is offensive and bad and something is okay and acceptable?
I don't know how would you do that in theory. I see how it's done in practice, and I think it's the only way to do it.
Because there's more aggressive platforms, for example, what Meta did and still does to a certain extent. And there's more free platforms like, for example, Telegram, Twitter, where you can just say a bunch of shit. Of course, there's community guidelines and whatnot, which a lot of the times even they are not respected. It very much depends, I guess, who says them, what kind of influence they have and whatnot.
Exactly.
But some people slip away with that, even by doing crazy shit like that, which violates their guidelines and whatnot. So yeah, I'm always curious, like, what's the limit? Like, what's like outside the community guidelines, which technically you're following? What is the guideline? Because there's even countries which do this on scale. For example, UK. I wouldn't imagine myself living in the UK right now, because if I say some controversial shit, somebody doesn't like or is offended, they might write a complaint, and then I need to go to jail for fucking typing some text on the keyboard.
Yeah, look, how are they doing it now? For example, at least what I see is there is a case where some declarations led to some violence, right? So I remember one of the first cases because I discussed it with a friend a couple of weeks ago, that some lady basically instigated for violence, and this violence happened, right? And she got, I don't know, 7 years in prison, something like that. So they take these cases and they basically build the legislation around them. So you cannot treat the
yeah, but there's a case, like, this goes to absurd. Like, there's a case also in the UK where somebody on Twitter posted the lyrics of a song which included some N-words and whatnot. And then they eventually they posted, like, they didn't threaten anyone, they didn't like violate any law in a sense. They just posted the lyrics of a song which another guy from another country wrote anyway. And then they get condemned for like 2 years or so, and they have to serve in prison for that, which is nuts to me. I don't know.
Maybe yes, maybe not.
Yeah.
Time will show. Maybe they prevented a bigger social
Like the last
event.
I believe 2 or 3 years I've always been following what's happening. I guess that's also the reason why I left Meta for a while. Like, primarily this idea of freedom of speech was a joke, not to mention the amount of sex that you get there. Literally, ads, things left and right when you scroll. Like, I don't know. It's just like privacy has become more of a something that I'm concerned about for the future. At least maybe we're like in this transition period, as our generation has been always since the whole boom of technology, web and whatnot. And now we're slowly seeing how, okay, we've been enjoying technology, then it got more standardized, then we got laws, regulations, and then we start suppressing people through these laws and regulation more and more. And then you have a world which is very technological, evolved, but then also people that are constrained. So yeah, it's always a concern for me, at least.
Yeah, but don't forget that we are still catching up on the legislation, how how the physical space is regulated.
Yeah.
The digital is not regulated to that extent yet, right?
Yeah.
So we're still catching up. So we are like in I don't know, 30 years into digital revolution, and we don't apply the same rules, the same laws to the digital space as to the physical one.
True.
Yeah. So I think it's expected to be more regulated.
I would even argue and say, add to this point and say that a lot of lawmakers don't even know what type of laws they should do. Like, if you take like even encryption alone, like encryption has been on the market for so long already. A lot of lawmakers, judges, they don't even know how that works.
Yeah.
Like when
A
investigations
lot of developers don't.
yeah, that's true, that too. But let's say like you're the person responsible for like investigating somebody, and they just come to you and say, oh, give us the files, give us information and whatnot. Like I read some of the things, like even saw like the interview with Pavel Durov and Lex Friedman, really cool stuff, you should watch. And he was like saying, like telling Lex about how the police were like didn't have a concept of how encryption works, and the fact that they couldn't really like give information on suspects because it's encrypted end to end, and you can't do that even if you wanted to. And it's just funny how technology has boomed so far ahead, and people who are responsible for enforcing the law, making sure there is order, they still have no clue how it works in order to enforce anything they want. Like, the European Commission is doing some efforts in this sense. A lot of it is hypocritical, in my opinion. But they have some good legislations, like the Digital Markets Act, for example. What's your opinion on that one?
It brought back the PWAs for a while, at least.
Yeah, also the app. Like, if we talk about Apple in particular, what's your opinion on it being fined? I believe 500 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, what's 500 million for Apple?
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess, bad reputation, but financial loss, not.
It's not even bad reputation. So the big companies, they get fined, I don't know, every once in a while, a couple of times a year, and nobody really pays attention to this.
What's your opinion of their, like, I believe, latest new on charges supporting at least one USB-C port? That's like their latest new thing. I think 2 weeks ago or so, they posted like an announcement.
I'm not sure.
I'm following them on LinkedIn, and sometimes I'm enraged and like, oh, I'm just gonna go and comment some shit. And then I promise not to like write political comments on LinkedIn because it's supposed to be professional. And then European Commission fucking posts some shit, and you're like, oh, going crazy on it.
I don't know, man. I'm not following, actually.
Yeah, let's talk about product development. We touched a little bit on it, but yeah, how important is, I guess, for businesses, but as well as for software engineers to be more aware of what they're building and who they're building it for?
Well, it is important. I mean, different companies treat it different ways. Somebody may just try to avoid engineers getting involved into product development like at all. Yeah, somebody on the other hand are pushing to engineers being how it's called product engineering, product
Right.
engineers today, right? So again, with advance of AI, I think every engineer will be more of the product than engineer.
Are you saying that product managers, maybe even project managers, are on the brink of losing their jobs?
Not project managers, definitely. And in a lot of companies, project managers and product managers are basically the same people.
Yeah,
And
but not really. Depends.
yeah, it's not supposed to be like this, I guess, but it is in most cases.
It's hard to manage both because, like, I've seen what you're saying. One, like, two-person in one. It's not going well usually.
I see a lot of it, and it's going fine.
I mean, I would argue it's hard to manage because you need to be the bad guy in a way, where you manage budget and time.
If
And
you
on the
need to
other-
be the bad guy, you're a bad manager.
no, but you need to tell the bad news sometimes. We have a
Yeah,
deadline. I don't
yeah.
give a shit how you do it. At the same time, you also need to be in the position where you have enough time for your client, educating your client, understanding what he wants, and more so, thinking about your customers. Because when you're a project manager, your customer in a way is not your customer, is more your developers. You manage them. Whereas as a product manager, you manage the client, you manage the customer experience. So
Well,
if you do both, I'm not saying you can't do it. At the same time, how good of a job you're going to do if you do both?
well, um, I have opinions.
That's what you're here for.
Yeah, I don't think project manager has as a customer the developer. Yeah, I think the customer is, because the main job of the project manager is resource management, right?
Yeah, time and budget.
Yeah, exactly. And who's reporting? Who's the project manager reporting to?
Correct. It's the client.
Business.
It's
right?
the business. That's true.
Business.
But at the same time, based on who, he can look good or bad in front of the client.
Yeah, based on the results of the project.
Correct.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
but the developers in this case, it's only the resource, And I'm not sure if we'll be able to get rid of project managers because why do we need project managers? Because this is a separate job. Because the interest of the developers is usually not the same, or at least not completely aligned with the business.
I'll tell you why, maybe with examples.
Mhm.
So one classical example, which tends to happen in a lot of companies. So let's say you're a client, you go to an IT company. Let's say that IT company, which happens to be the case to the most part, like a lot of the companies are doing outsource. They just got on the market. They won a client, like they snatched a client for some marketing ads and whatnot, and they just are starting out. And let's say they have an inexperienced, non-technical project manager. What tends to happen is then once they snatch the client, they fish the client, they're looking for jobs, they're doing job postings and whatnot. They start looking for engineers. They get some engineers, and then what happens is the engineers can bullshit them. And they can't smell that bullshit because they're not technical. So, like, and as opposed to if you had a more technical project manager, then he knows like that smells like bullshit. Probably this doesn't take that much time. Probably this is not as complex as he says it is.
But hiring is not part of project manager's job.
No, that's true. The company is going to do the hiring process and whatnot, but eventually they will deal with the hired people.
Yeah,
is my point.
Of course.
If you are more of a business person, less technical project manager, then you can do hire some kind of architect, some kind of overwatch person who's gonna make sure the team is not bullshitting him, which is an additional cost which many small to medium companies might not afford, nor do they want to, which will tend to resolve into developers exploiting the situation and bullshitting the PM in this sense.
I'm not sure this is a big problem, actually. Okay, person you're talking about
You will
is
be
usually...
surprised how inefficient many companies are.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we are all inefficient, and there are ways to make our work faster, easier, make us more productive, and so on and so forth. It's not about that. I think it's about the job that we want to do and what's going to change, right? So, are we going to need less of project managers in the future? Why? I mean,
no, I'm not saying we'll need. I was just fantasizing with your idea of maybe in the future we'll do more product development as developers. And I was also asking about project managers instead of doing coding, since coding is going to be to the most part leveraged by AI. And I was just fantasizing with the idea of, are they going to lose their jobs since we can maybe do more of that job ourselves?
These are two things that they don't necessarily intersect. For example, today we have organizations and teams that don't have project managers, right? So they, for example, have engineering managers. That is the person that you basically described previously when the shift of the technical decisions kind of goes towards this person in some sense. And there are still teams that work with project management and the project manager as a separate entity. And these two things, I think they will continue be the same. So there will be teams with project managers and there will be teams without project managers.
Right.
I don't think developers being more oriented towards product has something to do with the job of the project manager.
But inevitably some people will lose their, like, leaner teams, meaning less people working in the industry or for the project, by definition means some people losing their jobs.
I'm not sure we're gonna use less people.
If that's your argument, then I agree. But if we, let's say, are developing the same exact amount, let's say, which is not true, of course, but let's say some project fail, other projects come up. Let's say on average, we're developing the same amount of new projects, meaning working with the same amount of people developing those projects. And we say we want to make leaner teams, smaller teams, then inevitably some people are going to be thrown off. Some people are going to be gotten rid of.
Like you said, it's not the case.
Yeah.
Industry is growing constantly.
No, I would be more than happy if this is the case, because this is only benefiting the humanity. Like, more productivity means people can afford more shit, means industries around the industry of IT and others will benefit from that. And I'm obviously looking forward for a economical comeback, which I haven't seen yet. So if we can get more productive, as you're saying, by having more jobs means even more productivity, which means stimulating other industries.
I guess.
Yeah. Let's talk about interviews maybe, because we haven't touched a lot on what's going on in the market. What's your opinion of the current job market? Is it crazy, chaotic? Is it fair? Is it how it used to be? Is it ever going to be?
Well, last time I was looking for a job was 3 years ago, basically.
You're lucky.
And I don't know what's happening on the market from the personal experience, but I hear stories. I see the stats. I see that it's really hard to land a job as a junior. Basically.
Not even as a junior, even as a senior.
Yeah, and as a senior, there are, the number of postings, they vary, and there is this impression that we are having less and less jobs in IT, which is not true, by the way. For example, I saw an analysis of this of the American job market, and that they recently introduced the $100,000 fee for H-1B visa annually.
Yeah, I heard something. When it initially came out, a bunch of political opinions like Trump and Musk and whatnot.
Yeah. So you would think that companies like, I don't know, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, whatever, they would be forced to hire less externally, right? So hire less from
but they can still
Asia.
outsource companies that have contractors in other countries.
Yeah. They can. But the idea is kind of, I think the original idea is to stimulate internal hiring within the country, right?
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen because what's happening now are more jobs are listed, and for example, Amazon, I think Amazon hired 14,000 people this year through H-1B visa, which is more than the last 3 years.
I'm hearing the opposite. I'm hearing a bigger financial crisis is coming.
Maybe.
Potential, I don't know, future potential layoffs, even recession.
We are kind of in a recession.
We are in a recession, but I'll be all the way honest. I was expecting a bigger wave of like it affecting people economically, and I'm still. It's like in Moldova, that time when it snowed but very little, and then we're expecting huge amounts of snow. We just don't know when, and it eventually happens. The same is here. It's like an effect which wasn't quite felt, and I'm expecting something worse maybe. And I'm hearing new layoff waves are coming, and yeah, I'm just curious because I'll be all the way honest. If you've interviewed 3 years ago, you're still like missing out on a lot of news and what's happening. It's really tough. Juniors are pretty much extinct if you strictly look at what job descriptions look like. Like fucking crazy requirements. And I'll be even more honest about it. I think some of the job postings are even a joke. Like they're not even for real. I think some of them are just for the hype. I don't even know. Like just to promote the page a little bit. It's like a form of marketing, if you will. So like they post a job, they get some attention, some likes, some comments and whatnot. And then they conduct the interview and then they say they're not interested. Or they don't even respond. You just send a CV and they fucking sell your information anyway.
Yeah. Well, it was, to be fair, it was the case before. So it was hard. I'm talking about the FANG.
But before, I remember the times when HRs were so much more committed. Like you'd get approached nicely. You'd get interacted with, eventually follow a process and whatnot. Nowadays is a fucking mess. I'll be honest. Like you don't know who to trust. Especially with huge amounts of like interview processes and like you need to go 4-5 steps of interview process, not knowing that even at the last one you might fail. Not even fail, but fucking stupid reason like you don't align with our company values or like, and I'm asking them explicitly, like how many other candidates you have in the queue? And they're just like, I'm lucky to ask this question. Many people don't ask. And they end up fucking interviewing 50 people and one of them gets selected. But the funny thing is they say this, they mention this concept of first comes, first serve or something like that. Which means if somebody else in this big queue of people started the, I don't know, some coding challenge and whatnot first, then they're likely more to have it finished first. And you're just fucking wasting your time. So like, yeah, it's a joke.
Let's think a little bit about how it's happening in other industries. Yeah, so it's been like this forever for everybody basically.
No, but the attitude has changed. I'll tell you that.
No, it has changed for us, because maybe before it was somehow different, because I don't know, we were more treated like precious developers, like gold or something. But imagine you are, I don't know, you're doing something else. You are whatever, fixing pipes or something. Yeah, it's not that easy to find a job. You'll have to go through.
I would say it's even easier now to be like a plumber. It's more demanded because of AI and because people think like I'll be all the way honest. I am keen towards learning picking up secondary skills, which is the reason why this podcast even originated. I want to improve my communication and whatnot. Because, like, let me give you a scenario. Imagine tomorrow, I mean, it's not the case for you again, because you're public speaking, you have some idea of other things outside programming. But imagine tomorrow, most developers lose their knowledge on any programming, like they lose their programming skills. The only thing they're left with is their mindset and how they think and who they are as a person. Are they doomed?
If there's still industry, no. They will learn it again.
Are they doomed if there's no programming required anymore?
No. Fuck no. I don't think so. I mean, of course, a lot of people will get really depressed. It will be hard for majority of us.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're doomed. People are losing jobs constantly.
No, I mean more in a sense of typically like your average engineer is the type of introvert guy who wants alone, peace, like don't touch me, I don't touch you, like leave me alone type of thing, antisocial. And the moment you take that beautiful thing away from them, which is programming, and then they can make a living, then they fucking check out even more out of society.
You'd be amazed how many of professions do not require to speak.
Well, I can think of a few, but that's kind of weird.
Even plumbers, they're not really the most communicative types.
That's true. Yeah. No, that's why I mean, like, you need to at least have some idea of a secondary skill with this entire AI boom. Because what if you're not as relevant anymore? How else are you relevant?
Maybe on the other hand, you should be more into AI now and more into software development.
True, but some people, I'll be all the way honest, I had like a small, not existential crisis, but a big like moment of when I'm just fucking thinking like, what if this thing goes big? Like, what if everything that I'm doing no longer matters in the next 2 years? Like, maybe I should think of something more creative, which makes me more relevant in a way. I don't know.
I'm not sure about making yourself more relevant, actually. I think the simple approach of doing what you do and trying to do it better tomorrow than it was yesterday, I think works in, I don't know, 99% of the cases. Yes, it may happen by some miracle that our knowledge about programming will go obsolete in like a, in a click, but may not. I mean, what are the chances?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember the times. I think this is our generation. Parents telling us, leave that internet shit. It's not going to make you any money. You should probably pick up, I don't know, construction, being a doctor, a lawyer.
Factory, go to the factory.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you've been told that. I was personally told that. Like, you should go into construction. That's what we did. This shit, like internet shit, is not going to work. And people, to the most part, believed in that. And yeah, I'm just wondering if that's now gonna go away.
Internet shit was a thing, I think, already for 40 years when we started to learn.
Yeah, not to the scale that it started affecting, like, let's say, small, like not so developed countries. Now, all kind of like, even if you go to like the poorest country in Africa, they have like, I don't know, modern tech and whatnot.
They have funds, definitely.
Yeah. They definitely, like, everyone's catching up and everything's so affordable nowadays. And inevitably, this is the future.
And how do you imagine this world of all the technology we have now, everybody using it? how do you think it will lose the necessity in software
I
development?
have an idea how it's gonna go. It's probably we're probably gonna lose what we have through more control. Like the more control, by control I mean government control over it we have, in a sense, the more of the freedom of being creative around it we lose.
I don't think we have any freedom of being creative now. We're just
I
trying
remember
to.
the times when we had like fucking zero security. Like even you take Bluetooth. Like remember the times when you would fucking connect to another phone while everyone was listening to the teacher. You delete their pictures and shit. Like talk about security, man. Like we've evolved so far to the point where everything is so robust and rigid. And yeah, I guess
Is it?
for some, yeah, it depends who you ask. If you ask like the biggest security guys, they're just gonna tell you nothing is secure ever.
Yeah, it's. I mean, maybe this is the end from where the regulation comes, right? Because there still are issues.
Yeah, what you regulate and based on what? Like that's always like a big concern. Like how do you apply the law? What kind of law do you make? How restrictive it should be versus how much freedom it should grant you. It's always it always is a trick part because some people are more indulgent in a way, other people are more strict and restrictive in other way. That's why you even have countries with more liberal policies, other countries with more conservative policies and whatnot. Shall we talk maybe a little bit about more personal life?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, like what do you do outside program? Since we mentioned this notion of relevance, secondary skills and whatnot, do you have any hobbies? Like what do you do outside iOS development?
The usual, IT privilege shit, like hiking, motorcycling, yachting.
Motorcycling.
Yeah.
You like to drive a lot?
I'd like to do it more, actually. Yeah, but at least once per 2 weeks. Yeah, I go outside and go into some dirt.
Is it dangerous?
Yeah, it is dangerous. It is notoriously dangerous. If you look into numbers, for example, probability of getting injured on a motorcycle in traffic is 20 something times higher than in the car. So yeah, it's kind of dangerous, but it's less dangerous than bicycle in the city, for example.
True, especially in Chisinau. It's like fucked up.
Yeah.
When I see every time like videos with guys fucking rolling over the car, every single time I'm driving, there's always this fucking feeling of like people are in a rush. People
Tense,
are
stress. Yeah.
Like you can feel the stress almost immediately.
Yeah. That's true. Our traffic is crazy. Even though I think the shittiest drivers are Italians.
Yeah, I mean, like they're slow, but some of them are really like depends which parts. Like, because if you go to Italy and try to drive, especially on like the small, very small roads,
yeah,
like they drive really fast and they even like beep you from behind. Like, why don't you fucking move faster and whatnot?
Yeah.
But because you're fucking like not local
on small pandas doing 120 in
yeah.
turn.
Like, you can almost see how your fucking car flips from the hill.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But they have the fastest cars though. Yeah.
I guess.
Depends. What do you mean by shitty drivers?
So yeah, motorcycling is stressful. But
have you ever been in an accident?
On a motorcycle? No, never.
Good driver.
I
on something else.
I crashed on my bicycle. I crashed a couple of times into cars that were, somehow reluctant to look into the right mirror when turning right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of have to look into the right when you're going right. But yeah, people in Chisinau, beware bicycles. People in Chisinau usually don't do that. So
not only do they not do that, we, especially as car drivers, we have an immediate kind of disrespect to anyone who's not a car driver.
Yeah, definitely.
Fuck, like why you're not driving a car?
Losers.
Like go fucking do some useful with your life,
Yeah.
I can confirm that, especially the one on the electrical bikes. Those are the most annoying. Like
the scooters.
The scooter. I can tolerate bicycles. I know they're way more, let's say, educated on how they should behave in traffic, but the scooters are fucking nuts.
Man, going on the sidewalk like
Yeah.
40 and passing.
Even in the public park, you like fucking try to just take a fucking walk in the evening because you had a stressful day. And then there's a fucking guy on the scooter just jumping into you and shit.
Yeah, man, it's out of hands. You know, they got banned, actually. Talking about regulations, they got banned in Paris, for example.
Yeah, I heard some countries in Europe are doing that, but not all of them. And I guess it's some businesses are gonna go down, but who cares? I don't like them anyway.
Yeah, it's a small sacrifice.
I even tried it a few times, but the infrastructure is not there here, so I just like fuck it. No, I'll just do it by car. At least it's not gonna rain me. I'm feeling comfortable, less accidents and shit, so I'm good.
Yeah. No, on a motorcycle, I think there are two types of motorcyclists. There are, old motorcyclists and dead motorcycles, basically. So, I'm exaggerating, but there are people that would ride recklessly and, of course, get into accidents more often. And people that are basically trying to stay alive in traffic, not get hit, not get run over. And it works like this. I see people who are riding motorcycles like whole life or 30 years without any accidents, major accidents. And you see on the news people that teenagers crashed into each other on motorcycles. Like
they're living on the edge of death every fucking hour.
Yeah, but can you imagine this? So two motorcyclists crashing into each other.
Yikes!
So it's not a car involved; it's a frontal.
Like,
crash.
Where do you start collecting the parts?
Yeah.
I mean, the human parts.
Yeah, but it's sometimes it's really bad, and but motorcycling actually is fun. I cannot recommend it enough. It helped me mentally a lot. I think it's a kind of meditation because
interesting way.
You are. I can compare it only with flying. You have to recognize the danger you are in. You have to be in the moment all the time. You cannot just think about, I don't know, the bug that's been bothering you for a week or something. It's not happening. If it's happening, you're getting into the news, and that's the beauty of motorcycling.
Don't be a bad reason for news.
Yeah. So it keeps you in the moment, and it's a tremendous help to your brain, to your mental health.
Interesting way of relaxing, because I was always thinking about running is a very good, at least for me, a very good way of meditating, bringing ideas into frame and whatnot. But motorcycling, I don't know, man. I guess any kind of driving for me is always stressful because I need to pay attention, not as much for myself, but more so for others.
Yeah.
And it's just stressful sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's relaxing. It's actually very demanding on the brain, but it stimulates your brain the way almost no other activity does.
No, the same goes for driving. Like I can be sleepy, and if I need to like go pick up something by car, my brain immediately is becoming sharp after I arrive back home.
Yeah,
because I had to go through so many decisions to make,
But imagine adding to this wind, temperature, humidity. Realization of the fact that your body is exposed, and if you fell at a certain speed, you just may die.
Yeah, true.
It's just.
I guess it depends how much adrenaline you love.
I don't think it's about adrenaline.
Since you mentioned like in the moment all the time.
People that love adrenaline, they're usually going fast, which is prone to more accidents.
Yeah. I have a question for you. And it's not mine. Well, it is mine, but it was asked through my previous guest. Not my previous recent guest, but my previous guest who's an Android developer.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked him this question, and he said I should also ask you this question.
Okay.
And the question is, we've been doing this for so long. I don't know how many years you're in the field for. Is it 7, 8, 9?
No, it's
maybe more.
16.
16 years.
Yeah.
So
I
you've been
guess.
doing this for 16 years.
Yeah, first time I got money for doing this, it was 16 years ago. Yeah.
Holy shit. So you've been doing 16 years of development. I've been doing less than that, probably around 9 or so. So the question to you from him is, as well as from me, how do you wake up in the morning and what motivates you to keep doing this every single time? Like what's like sparking up that fire within you? What makes you motivated, I guess? Is it new projects, new ideas, new concepts, languages, frameworks, libraries? What is it?
It's a good question. I think for me, I've come to a realization that you don't have to be motivated, right? I think the right approach is to be able to develop a discipline to do whatever it takes. Yeah, because I would like to think about my job as a job, not necessarily as a sense of life, my purpose in life.
Yeah, but you're spending so many hours on it
Yes,
daily.
yes, you are.
It has to be purposeful.
It has to bring some satisfaction, some achievement, sense of achievement. Yeah, I agree with that. But I don't think your life should revolve around this. And partially, I think I'm here that I can say that I'm treating it as a job. So partially, I'm here.
So you like to separate life from job, from work?
Yeah, I think it's essential. It's essential. But I'm not completely there yet. So it's a process, yeah. But on the other hand, the other part is basically I'm trying every day to find something interesting, something fulfilling in every task I'm doing. So every little thing I achieve, I think it's important to celebrate.
Haven't you reached the point where you've pretty much tried everything? Just the context is different. The app is called different. The animation slightly looks different. The text is slightly different. But what you're doing is essentially the same. Don't you get bored?
Bored. I think I'm a strong believer. If you think from the product perspective, you'll never get bored.
Right.
Because you have this task to help your user. And it's not about how the button looks like, what the framework you are using, right? How necessarily not about necessarily how you're interacting with each other, right? The goal is to deliver some value to your user. And if you're thinking about it, no, you can do the same thing 100 times in a row, and you know why you're doing it, and you know that it makes sense. It doesn't have to be exciting from the technical perspective, right? It's not about technology. It's about the value you are bringing.
Right.
So no, I think maybe I'm mature enough to say that I don't need something new. I don't need something exciting. But maybe I'm just kidding myself. I don't know for sure.
Yeah. No, the reason I ask this is because a lot of people either burn out or get bored or no longer find meaning in what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it happens more and more. Like it happens even more now as people pick it up, or a few years ago when they picked it up, than for the elder ones, like the ones who did it for like 20 years or so.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating, and that's why I asked this, I guess.
No, I understand totally. I also burned out a couple of years ago, and in the beginning of pandemics, I think it happened. It's not related to pandemics, but it happened, and I realized something. I just adjusted the way I interact with my work, and I took a year and a half of break from the work.
That's a good thing.
I rode a lot of motorcycle, and I got better. I think at managing.
Fresh energy.
It's not about energy. I think it's about the approach.
Interesting perspective. Yeah, there's so many more things I want to talk about, but I guess that's a good reason for a V2, or I should say a V4.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I want to end with the question that I ask everyone, and that question is, what is your final piece of advice for anyone who's watching, whether they're iOS developers, future iOS developers, future generation, and yeah, anyone who's watching? What's your final piece of advice? What do you want them to leave with after watching this?
This is the most complicated question, and I don't remember how I answered it the last time.
That's not the
But
point.
yeah, I know.
We're writing history at last.
I know, yeah. But I think I've been thinking after the last time. I've been thinking about it. How would I answer it again? And I just realized my answer probably would remain the same, but there is a side note to
Right.
this. And the side note is that I don't think I'm a suitable person to give advices unless it's an advice to myself, I don't know, 10 years ago or 20 years ago, because everybody has its own experience and own perspective on life, on what went wrong with his life and what went well, and so on and so forth.
Right.
And the same is for me. So there is one thing I would like that I would have learned sooner, and start applying sooner rather than later. And it's basically the same thing that we just talked about. It's the discipline of being able to separate stuff into different boxes, like life and work,
Mm-hmm.
and to treat each of these boxes accordingly. So I was I think I was fortunate and blessed for a lot of time to ride on just instincts and not having any structure for myself. Yeah, I lacked discipline for a very long time, and I think I started to develop it only last couple of years. I don't know, 5-7 years ago, and this is happening with a lot of people. I see very talented people that just don't pay much attention to the discipline. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like, there is a feeling that you will be motivated forever. There is a feeling that you'll be able to solve everything in any given moment,
Especially when you start something.
Yeah. And this is, of course, not true, right? And you should think about the future. And to think about the future is basically to develop your way of life that you would be able to maintain forever, right?
Yeah.
So motivation will not get you there. Motivation can get you started, but will not get you there. So you should basically develop this discipline. You should think about how can you manage to do this forever. Of course, it's important to know
about the long-term game.
Yeah, it's important to know what you want to do in general. Yeah, but when you figure it out, when you have this motivation, just invest some time and some effort in figuring out how to make it maintainable. So this was my issue for a very, very long time. I was riding on my motivation. I was riding on pure instinct. And I had a bunch of problems because of that. So yeah, my advice to myself, I don't know, 15 years old myself is develop your forever going engine.
That's an advice which sounds both from a human being as well as from a developer. Like, it applies so very well in both aspects, like personal life as well as software engineering.
I hope so.
Yeah, really good piece of advice. Cool. Like I said, so many more things to cover and talk about. Wonderful person. And once again, I want to personally thank you for being so very kind and patient with me. If I were to invite myself the third time on a fucked up and failed interview, I'd probably refuse, but I am really grateful for that. And thanks once again for being here and for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me, not once, but 3 times. And
it's been my pleasure and honor. And once again, thank you.
I hope I was not boring.
You were not only boring, but amazing. So, yeah.
Thank you. You are very kind.
Yeah, I'll end the show by saying this was VUnstaged. Keep your mind open and your source unstaged.